Gets in, lads. Welcome back to the Full Podcast. My name is Elijah. I'm, of course, joined by Andres per usual. We got Mexico's October window reaction review. I don't know. We're going to cover that one today. The games against Valencia, games against USA. Before we get into it, though, let us know down below your opinions on the international window for Mexico and leave a like if you enjoyed that game against the USA. So, I mean, overall, lots of positives and negatives. No,
Yeah, I would say they balanced each other out. Like, you know what I mean? Like, if someone
I
watch
don't know.
if people watched my preview, I was very negative. You know, the morale of myself was very low. The expectations were low going to the United States game specifically. But I think the United States win overshadows the draw just because of
Hmm.
how the way we won. You know what I mean? Like, it wasn't like
Hmm.
a close one. It was kind of like dominant performance overall. So I don't know. I would say they cancel each other out, but I think there's some major takeaways to take from this that are more positive than
Lots
negative.
of takeaways. Oh, more positive than negative.
Yeah, I would say
Oh,
more
okay.
positive. Yeah, yeah.
I was gonna say the other way around.
Oh, really?
I'm kind of leaning towards it was more like okay. I think overall it does kind of balance out, but I think there are a lot of negative takeaways in general. If you don't mind me starting with that,
Oh no.
uh,
Go. Let's start. Always start with the negative and end with a positive. That's what I
I
always say.
appreciate that. Okay, negatives. Of course, number one is the Valencia game. That
Embarrassing.
embarrassing. I mean,
Embarrassing.
going into the USA game, like before the USA game, I thought it was going to be a shoe in because that game against Valencia was just one of the worst performances from the Mexico national team in a long time, yet not one of the most surprising performances. They played against a Valencia B team, and the A team is crap, first of all. The Valencia A team was not that good. The Valencia B team is even worse, and it was a 2-2. I don't know why Charlie Rodriguez is still getting opportunities.
It's because it
I
was
mean,
against Valencia. That's what I'm
the
telling you.
the
You didn't see him.
defense.
You
Oh
didn't see
yeah.
him step foot on that pitch against the United States.
Oh no, absolutely not. And that's that. If there's a positive takeaway that I want to make for this entire video, it's that he did not play against USA. But like the game against Valencia, you get brought on to look good. You get brought on to get opportunities. And how are you going to do that bad against a Valencia B team? I mean, like whatever kind of defense he played that one moment in the game. Overall, not a good look. Regardless of
No.
the win against the USA, not a good look at all for Mexico. You can't be doing that. And it's scary for them because I know in January they are supposed to play against I forget which team, an Argentinian team in Argentina, and the Argentinian league is a very reputable league, very very good league. It's as far as we know, the team is going to be made up fully of Liga MX players.
Dubs.
Friendlies like this have way more negative outlook than it does positive. Even if you win it, it's like what's the point? If
It's a
you lose it,
throwaway.
it just looks bad. It's a throwaway. So that game against Valencia was a big negative, and I don't think the USA win is enough to overshadow that completely. It's not something that we should forget from our minds for Mexico. It's definitely still
Short-term
something to
memory,
think
baby.
about. I know, which is
Short-term memory
exactly
hit
how to be happy as a Mexico
Mexico
fan.
Twitter literally hit so quickly, bro. Everyone turned into Dory, bro. I kid you not. No one even
Dory.
mentioned that Valencia game after that, after the dub.
No,
I'm
and,
not
and
gonna lie.
and
Like
rightfully so, rightfully so.
I
But
think if we're to stay on the Valencia game, I think all those players that played in the starting 11 should not play again, or like come close to the squad in the sense
wow,
of
all of
like
them.
no,
Jesus,
most of them, most of them.
Jesus.
I thought Herrera played pretty well. He did score that goal. Very nice goal. Alexis Vega, lucky goal. I'm not going to lie. That's very unfortunate against the keeper. But I just, it was just lackluster. It looked the same. It was just boot up long ball.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Like that was it. It was pass, long ball. That
yeah.
was our whole game plan. And that's what we saw with our previous manager. And the one before that was just pass, long ball, whip it in the box, hope for the best. Hardly anyone was willing to drive and take on a defender and see what they can do, trust themselves. But and then that was a frustrating part for me. And then the two goals they scored were just for Valencia shit goals that should not be
Right.
happening whatsoever. Charlie Rodriguez mentioned in the preview, fucking shit all around. Somehow was
Yeah.
playing center back on that equalizer. Don't know what he was doing, but he was there. Putting Edson at center back was also questionable. But yeah, we had our two best center backs too in the game.
Yeah.
And they did not play the greatest, but they didn't play horrible either. But it
Yeah.
was just whack all around. I'm not gonna lie. But I think the fact that the short term memory goes crazy for like Mexico fans is because of the fact that We haven't beat the United States in 5 years, like in any shape or form. So like this is like a big stepping stone, I'd say, in terms of the grand scheme of things. In this, hear me out, hear me out, hear me out, hear me out. Just because it's like you haven't beaten them in 5 years, no matter like in anything, and then you finally beat them convincingly, I would say, in a proper fashion where it wasn't like, oh, we sat back and just hit the counter or something like that or got lucky. It was like we were putting the pressure on them, we were dictating the tempo, all that, and we looked like we cared. We looked like we cared. And I saw a lot of the U.S. Quote me if I'm wrong here, but U.S. Twitter fans were not too happy with the heart the players were putting into the game.
I would
They
agree.
kind of
I would
they
agree.
they
Yeah,
just kind of were like going through the motions. Granted, yes, it is not the strongest United States side of all time, especially with Pulisic, McKennie, all that jazz out of the team. But I found it was rejuvenating seeing that performance because the players were in it. The players were in it, ready to go. My captain threw that guy on the floor like he was a rag doll. That was hilarious.
yeah, Zendejas.
Yeah. For a former Mexican international, if no one knew that, he switched sides, switched teams. It's not like it's sides, but yeah, just like it just felt more passion. Something that I felt like the teams miss in a long time is I think we've called it on a lot of coverage over Mexico these past 2 years is that like there's not enough passion, no identity. But I felt like they were finding their groove. They were playing for each other instead of just playing as individuals. So I think that was the most uh important part that people are taking away from this international window for Mexico and ignoring the Valencia game is just because they were up for the task. They look like Mexico in the sense of players were taking on defenders and trying to beat them instead of just whipping the ball in. Granted, there was times where we were just booting up the ball to Raul Jimenez and all that, but we'll get to Raul Jimenez in a second because I owe that
Yeah,
man an apology. But yeah, I think that's why. I think that's why people are kind of
yeah,
ignoring that Valencia game. But I understand there is some negative takeaways to take from that. But the United States win, I think, is an overarching theme for it that takes
yeah,
over.
yeah, and that's fair, and that's how it should be. The only things I take from this window still is like don't get me wrong, it's a positive thing for Mexico to beat the USA, but there's still it's their first win in 5 years, right? And like, yes, that's great. It still, I just don't think Mexico are at the level of USA. I mean, and and that's not like I'm not trying to throw shade or anything, but if you think that, sure, but I still need to see more from this team, even though they like it's not their fault. USA played a B team, a B/C with C subs, like, and that's not Mexico's fault. That's the USA, and the players who did get to play did not show any bit of heart. I still really do not think that Mexico's A team can convincingly beat USA's A team consistently. And that's again, like I said, that's it's not their fault that they didn't show me that. It's because USA didn't bring that. I just still need to see more, and I don't want Mexico to get complacent now because
Yeah,
I feel like that's a pretty big theme over the past decade or so with both teams. Both teams is the USA will beat Mexico once, big game, and boom, Mexico's crap, and then Mexico beats USA once, despite 5 years of dominance by the USA, and boom, Mexico's back. It's like it's not that yet. And if you're thinking that, okay, sure, but in my opinion, it is nowhere near that yet. Mexico still have a long way to go to determine if they're still vying for number one with USA and even Canada. It's a good win, but it's also, don't forget, it's a friendly against USA's B team. Still a good win, a win to be proud of because they did play well and they did show up well in Mexico. Fantastic. Don't get me wrong, fantastic. It's still with a grain of salt for me. That with the Valencia thing, it's still with a grain of salt for me. They have the opportunity, they have the chance to get up there, and with a few like changes here and there, with like bringing Raul Jimenez back on is one thing. Like those kind of things. It's a sign of a step in a good direction, yes, but I wouldn't say it's a stepping stone just yet. It's good, yes. Let's see when it matters, and which we
yeah,
could.
yeah.
We got the Concacaf Nations League quarterfinals coming up next month, which we're gonna have a lot of content for. We could see the matchup. Mexico still has to play Honduras, and even that game, I still don't know if that's going to be a for sure win for Mexico. Remember last year against
Oh yeah,
Honduras, it got really
legendary though.
close,
That
very
was
very
sick.
close. Sure, yeah, but I mean, like, all in all, I'm saying after this window, I'm not really convinced that Mexico should be considered in the top two.
You know me, I get caught up in the hype train.
No, and I
You
get
saw
that.
my Instagram.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I said, "Oh, we back." I said big stepping stone. I'll downgrade it. I'll downgrade it to
Okay.
a step in the right direction. I say big stepping stone because we're taking so many negative steps backwards and we've hit so many
It's true.
lows
It's a
that
good point.
this is something finally positive in the past probably 4 or 5 years. Everything's been really negative with the Mexican
Right.
national team, except the Gold Cup win. But let's be honest, that was kind of like a
No one
throwaway
cares.
thing. It was like no one
Yeah.
really cares. But I think it's huge, just like a momentum thing, just because like okay, we're finally something's working. You know what I mean? Like something clearly. Whether Aguirre, maybe Rafa Marquez was doing something behind the scenes to unite this team or something. Because clearly they played well in moments where they're doing really good combination plays. They're moving the ball very quickly. So something's going on in training when they meet up and it's finally clicking. We're seeing it on the field. Yes, it's against United States B team. But at the same time, we didn't even see that against like other international teams, or like against Valencia. We didn't see that. We didn't see that
Mm-hmm.
combination play, the
Mm-hmm.
passing movements. We didn't see any of that. We just saw a pass, boot. So I think that's why for me it's a big stepping stone because we can see the identity they're going to try to maintain, and I hope they continue that because that's the Mexican style of football that I'm used to seeing: the quick passing movements, the 1-2s, and then the quick just take on defenders and then find someone in the box. That's what I'm used to personally. And yes, we
Right.
had Raul Jimenez was the star of the show by far, showing his individual quality. It looks like he's back. I'm not going to jump ship on him just yet, but I mean, I'd like to apologize for everything I've said in the past about you. I was not familiar with your game. We've said a lot about with his injury has definitely affected him, but it looks like he's overcome that slump. Granted, that was a major injury to overcome. So props to him for sticking to and
Yeah.
maintaining the Premier League and all that, because a lot of
Yeah.
people wouldn't have done what he did. So I got to give him props to that. And his return's about to be crazy if he continues this. I'm not going to say like he's going to, because there's no guarantee in international football and whatnot. I think it's a good place, stepping stone. Now, begs the question: when Santi comes back, if Raul Jimenez maintains this, does he go back into the squad, Santi Jimenez, or is he sitting on the bench? Because you can't.
Santi's
Because
gonna sit on the bench. Santi's gonna sit
yeah,
on the bench. Raul's been given one game and he's shown up. In the biggest
yeah,
game in Mexico, in a little bit for Mexico, a
a
lot rode
goal
on
and
this game.
assist, a goal
A
and a.
goal and an
I'd
assist
say the
for
assist
Raul
was better
Jimenez.
than the goal. I'm not gonna lie. I
I don't know.
think
His goal was nice. His goal was
the
nice.
goal was nice. Like, don't get me wrong, that's a thing of beauty, the way it dropped. But I would say
Yeah.
the assist
His
because it
effort
shows
on
his
the assist, though.
work
Yeah.
rate. Because he lost the
Exactly.
ball, he ran
Exactly.
back for it, tackled it, and then did a perfect tackle straight to Chino, and then Chino slotted in. I thought Chino
Yeah.
played very well. I'm not gonna lie. I thought he
Chino did
finally
play
took
very
on.
well.
I thought he took on defenders finally. That he's known for taking on defenders, and he finally. I think that's what we've
Yeah.
been calling for: someone on the wing to finally just go at defenders, and he finally did
Yeah.
that. So I think it's just confidence. I think we mentioned it's going to take some time with the Gita, but there's positives to take, and now we're on the positive segment. I think if they continue in this direction and build on it, granted this is not a final product whatsoever,
No. No.
but if they build on it and they'll eventually see what happens with certain players, how they develop. Granted, we were missing Santi, but who knows? Maybe, or
Yeah.
he's not going to be in the future plans anymore. Who knows? Chavez wasn't there either, who's an important midfielder for us,
It's very true.
and so he might improve the squad. And also, yeah, and then Charlie. Now we know Charlie. We don't need Charlie. Charlie can stay home dying. But I thought Luis Romo actually played pretty well too. I'm not gonna lie.
Luis Romo had a good game. Luis Romo had a good game.
Came on for Andres Guardado in the
Yeah.
19th minute, technically the 18th. But that was
Yeah.
nice to see him
Yeah.
put on the
Uh,
shirt one last time.
Overall, I feel like almost every starter besides Pineda had a pretty good game. I
Yeah,
mean, Malagon looked solid in that. I hate to say it, but Jose Sanchez looked decent at right back.
yeah, but
It's
he's only good if he's dealing with mediocre wingers. You know what I mean? No
it's very
offense,
true. I mean,
but like if
and to
once
be
he
fair, on
faces
his side,
someone
he had
pacey,
he had Brendan
it's over.
Aronson.
Yeah,
So yeah,
no
exactly.
offense, Norwich fans,
No,
but
I
no,
mean, okay, so
He plays for Norwich, right? I'm not tripping.
no, he does not. He plays for Leeds, but close enough.
Close enough, bro. Still in the championship. My fault. I was thinking about Sargent. My fault.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah. Okay, so like I said, Mexico. One positive I want to take. Obed Vargas got like about 10 minutes of game time. Great, good sign that he came on even with against the USA. Great, 19 years old, fantastic. That is exactly what Javier Aguirre needs to keep doing. Now, a couple other things though. He brought in Diego Lainez. Diego Lainez, again, should not be in this team. That is the perfect opportunity for you to call Marcelo Flores in and bring Marcelo Flores on in the 69th minute like you did Diego Lainez. Diego Lainez should not be on this team at all. So that's one negative, again, is to take from
Yeah,
this window, is it's still a weird team. There's still a lot of questions made about this team that he picked, and I'm curious to see what picks he
that's a
makes
test
then,
too.
because yeah, no, it is a big test, and
A game that
it's
matters.
it's yeah, and it's a little scary because I don't see Javier's changing a little too much from what this looks like here, which is fine. But I think you need to make a couple changes. Like I said, no Diego Lainez at all. To your point, I think Raul over Santi for sure for now. Santi just hasn't proved it yet for Mexico, and he's been given ample opportunity to. Now we
Maybe he
have
needs
talked
that
about it before.
competition. You know what I mean? Maybe he needs
That's
that because
exactly what
maybe
he
he got
needs.
complacent. I think he might have been complacent. He
That's
knows that he's
exactly
the
what he
only answer.
needs.
But now Raul Jimenez is pushing the agenda a little bit.
Yeah,
So I think it's going to be a healthy competition. Obviously, it's not going to be
I
like
would
some
agree.
toxic. Maybe I've never seen Mexico play with two strikers unless they're losing. But
No,
maybe you
God
put
no.
two strikers up top. Who knows? You change your formation a little bit, a 4-4-2.
It depends.
Hey,
Depends on
and
the
then
team. If you're playing a Jamaica, you can afford to play two in the midfield, like that kind of thing. You know,
yeah,
it just depends on the formation.
Edson holds it down. But yeah, I don't
Yeah,
know. Just a food for thought. You
yeah.
never know.
But to your point earlier, you said maybe something happening in training. They're passing it around, doing nice in this game. We didn't see it against Valencia. That's a big point. We didn't see it against Valencia. Why didn't we see it against Valencia?
Charlie.
Why? Why? Well, yes, yes. But like, why? Regardless of who's playing on the team, if that's actually what you're instilling in these players, why are we not seeing it in other games? Not saying it's not there, but you cannot only show up against the USA, which is exactly what Mexico has been doing for the past 5 years, if at all. Their best performances have been against the USA in general, and that's saying a lot because they don't like they only know when to show up in these games like this. But when you're playing, against Honduras, you're not showing up. When you're playing against, Canada, you're not showing up. It's just these games, which is fine. This is the biggest rivalry in the region, but why are we not seeing that in other games? That's a
Yeah,
big thing for me too. Is that Mexico needs to really step it up in other games because they're not showing up at all. And again, some games here and there, sure. The game against Canada, they look decent. Canada also, like, which is a common factor, we're not playing their best team. I need to see this style of play from Mexico more often. You should be playing like this against Valencia, and if you're not, like, why isn't your B team playing like this? Why is only your A team playing like this? What if a lot of them get hurt? Your B team comes in and they don't know how to play like this. There's still questions for me. Obviously, Javier has just only recently been there. This is with only the second or third
yeah.
international window that, he's been a
Second.
part of. Second, yeah. So obviously more time is needed, but it's just there are still some questions. Yes, overall positive in this game for them. I just need to see more. That's why, like, I'm really
Yeah,
looking forward to the Honduras game because
yeah. I think so.
Honduras is a test. Honduras is a decent team.
I'm glad. I'm just glad we came out of this window not with a bunch of negatives. And be like, okay, this
Yeah,
team's just shit, and we came out of this
yeah,
window with some answers and then more questions. But the questions are positive questions. Be like, okay, can they keep this up? Are they able to keep doing this or is it just this going to be a one time thing
right.
against the B team United States side? Honestly, the reception's been pretty well with the Mexico fans. I'm not gonna lie. I thought it was
Yeah, and
going to
that's
be a
good.
lot
And that's
pretty
something you
bad, but
needed. That's
yeah,
something you needed. But also, I mean, you can also say that that's exactly what the federation wants. Like,
yeah,
yes,
yeah,
you have this home game against the USA, the B team USA at Mexico. You win, yay, everything's perfectly fine. It's not.
yeah.
Not everything is perfectly fine. There is still a lot of questions to
It's
be
tricky.
answered.
It's tricky with
It's
this
true.
federation.
It
It's
is
a
tricky. Like, there's
tricky
so many
thing
more
to.
games than just football that are being played. That's really bothersome. We could
Yeah,
see a completely different Mexico team next month, next year.
yeah.
So that's why I'm
Well,
still
Jimenez may
hesitant to
not even be on
say
the team. Who knows?
no.
If
It's
someone doesn't
true.
want him
It's
on the
true.
team, he may not be on the team.
It is very true. And like that's why I'm still a little hesitant to say anything about this Mexico team overall. Yes, it was a good window. Yes, it was a good game, but there's still a lot of questions that are not answered yet. Ones that will never be answered, and whenever new questions are answered, more pop up. It's so confusing with this federation that so much could be happening. So much is happening behind the scenes that this is not how it is. In comparison with like the USA, right now we know where the USA is at. Pochettino, they have we know what their A team is, and they're going to move forward from that. With Mexico, there are so many different paths they can and have taken. Little hesitant. Only reason why. If you disagree with me, let me know. But that's just why I'm
No,
just a little. It's a little scary.
no,
It's a
I
little
get it.
scary.
I get it. I get it. Hey, look, I
This
can be
could be
reasonable at
this could be a
times.
band aid. Yeah, I appreciate that. Like this could be a band aid on the big wound. You know,
Yeah,
this could be something that just hides what's really going on, and then we're gonna really see what happens later on.
I believe, as one Ted Lasso says. I would say used to say, but they renewed the season, so it says. Yeah, I believe it's going to be an interesting month next month, a couple months,
Yeah,
I would say. But
yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah,
I would say if that's all you have to say, I would say stay tuned for
yeah,
that
yeah.
Honduras game. We'll definitely have a preview for that, maybe a little match reaction to both legs. But yeah, I think it's going to be that November is going to be a real big test overall for the Mexican Federation, that Mexican side. But I'm looking forward to it. It's finally where I'm actually looking forward to the next international break because
There we go.
past windows I've been like, oh god, it's gonna be a rough one, but maybe it's gonna be my escape from West Ham. Who knows? But yeah, let us know what you guys think about the overall window for Mexico in October. Leave comments down below. Remember, like this video if you think this is a positive thing for Mexico, and if you don't, still like it anyway because it helps us. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed, and peace.